Brother just sent me this Skitch single needle Artspira enabled embroidery machine, and I'm absolutely so excited to get into it. But first, hey guys, my name is Mackenzie and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I take you on the behind the scenes of my latest crafting projects. And today's video is in partnership with Brother, and we are going to be unboxing and learning how to use the Skitch PP1 machine. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through the process of setting up and using the machine as well as the Artspira app to transform this vintage workwear jacket I thrifted into an art workwear jacket that I can wear when I do my projects. And here's the design that I've mocked up for the project. So my plan is to do individual patches that I'm going to create and sew onto the jacket, which is very workwear. That doesn't seem so hard, so let's get started. We'll start by unboxing the product, going through all the supplies you'll need for a project like this, and then we will go to actually getting to work. One of the things that has me so excited about this machine is the connection to the Artspira app, which allows me to turn my own designs into actual embroidery files in a very easy to use way. So that's super exciting. Okay, first off, we have a starter kit. Okay, we've got a little bag of accessories with extra needles, some thread, some pre-threaded bobbins, seam ripper, and some scissors. Our magnetic embroidery hoop. That's so nice, it just snaps into place. That's major. And our plug, as well as some felt fabric for our trial embroidery and our stabilizer material. I've read that felt is a great material to embroider patches on. I don't know that I have any felt in my fabric stash, but for this project, I wanted to use some scraps that I have left over because in the realm of thrift flipping, I'd like to also use what I have in my closet already. So I have a huge bin of scrap fabric that I've been collecting from different projects over the years, and so I'd like to use those pieces with some strong stabilizing fabric. So we're gonna go ahead and go that route, because while felt is very strong, this should work on pretty much any material. We have our full-length operational manual, which I definitely need to take some time and get into this. Wow, she is secure. Okay, and there's literally handles so I can pick it up. Now that I have the machine unboxed, I'm going to go ahead and get this set up at my sewing station, and then we'll go ahead and do a little trial and get the app set up and move on to the actual project. I've been reading through the manual, and in the getting ready section, there are some items that we need to prepare, so let's go through our supplies. Number one is fabric and stabilizer, and which we'll be putting on the back of the fabric, which just helps with the process of supporting the stitches while the embroidery process is going. And of course, we need embroidery thread, which I have a lot of, so we have lots of options for colors. We'll also need empty bobbins to thread to match the colors of our embroidery, and embroidery needles, which the machine comes with one installed already, and two extras, which are the 75-11 width. And if you're going with a heavyweight fabric, they recommend using a 90 by 14. And the last thing is the Artspira app so that we can turn all of our designs into actual embroidery. So we make sure the machine's turned off, plug it in, turn it on, and connect the machine to the app. So that seems like a good first step. So as we get started setting up the machine, I'm opening the bag of included accessories to take out the few things that I'm going to need to get started. But included in this bag are scissors, cleaning brush, seam ripper, needle set, 2 pre-wound bobbins, disc-shaped screwdriver, and some black embroidery thread that I'm going to be threading through the machine to get started. And inserting the upper thread and bobbin is super easy. You just follow the arrows and numbers and you're ready to roll. Once the machine is turned on, you can go ahead and connect it to your Artspira app, and it is super easy through Bluetooth. You literally just push this button and your device will recognize the machine. You can go ahead and connect, and then you can start embroidering. Once the machine has initialized and is ready to insert the frame, you'll go ahead and prep that frame for embroidery by putting your stabilizer down, fabric over top, and then the top piece will just snap right into place. For my test embroidery, I've chosen a random design from the Artspira app, and I'm going ahead and transferring the information over from my device to my machine via the Bluetooth connection. And now that we have our test embroidery ready to go, we're going to do a trial run, and the machine does this before each time you embroider to make sure that the arm can move freely and won't get caught up on anything, so that when you're embroidering, your embroidery doesn't get all messed up. And with a safe test run, you're ready to press the play button and watch the embroidery process go. And after that little beep beep, we can take our embroidery off, peel off the backing, and it's done. Okay, so now that we have our test embroidery done, I'm going to walk you through the process of uploading your own artwork, design, image, whatever you want to the app and how to embroider from there. Follow along on screen while I walk through this process. So I designed all of these images on my iPad and removed the background and saved them as a PNG. I know that you can use JPEG and other files, but this is just what I did for me. You go to your Artspira app, click on New at the bottom, and you're gonna press Image to Embroidery, and it tells you the file size that you need to use as well as the different formats that are available. So like I said, I'm using PNG for mine. You can grab the image from the files on your phone or go right into your camera roll. You're gonna select your design, then it'll pop up and give you the option to crop. Obviously we're using a 4x4 frame, so I'm keeping it as a square. And then I'm just going to keep the embroidery as digitizing and go down to the appropriate number of colors that I want to use. So since this is just a black outline, I'm only using one color, and remove background is automatically set to on. And you're going to hit preview and it'll digitize it so quickly for you, so you can see a little preview of what that stitch will look like. And then you're gonna hit done. And once you're ready, you're gonna go ahead and click create. And if you wanna embroider this again, you can go ahead and save the file from here. You'll hit done, transfer to the machine, do a little test trial to make sure the space is clear, and then you're going ahead and you're embroidering. It's that easy. I've been collecting scraps from all of my sewing projects over the last 4 years, and I think it would be really fun if I were to do the designs on top of these, because it keeps the projects I'm so proud of with me while I work on my new ones. So let's go through. I have to think about what fabrics are actually going to be able to embroider on. I feel like most can do, but maybe not something as flimsy as this. Probably use this purple. Take a piece out of this pink one. I'd love to do this pink denim, but I'm afraid I don't have enough. The theme seems to be pink because I make a lot of pink projects. My entire craft closet is stuffed full of fabric, so let's pop in there and see if we can find something else. So our final options come down to this pink, which looks almost exactly the same as this pink denim, but the texture is different. So, see, the texture is different. And I think that'll be noticeable to me, and it's my jacket. A regular red fabric. I'm also going to be using this purple, probably with a white embroidery thread on top. And I want to be able to somehow work in this pink gingham, which is like, there's barely any left here. But recycling. The whole point is it's a thrift flip, so let's use what I have in my closet. So with my fabrics selected, I go ahead and start readying them for embroidery with the same process of putting the stabilizer fabric down, then putting my top fabric on top of that, and closing it off with the top layer of the frame. And while the machine is hard at work moving and grooving on those patches that I've assigned to it, I go ahead and get started working on the back of the jacket. So I go ahead and try to get the most symmetrical looking diamond shape I can. Go in first with white fabric paint because I want to make sure the pink is vibrant on top of this dark navy fabric. And while I was painting, I was checking in every now and then on the embroidery and switching out my different fabrics to make the next patch. And once I had all of those together, I went ahead and started cutting out each of the patches just with a pair of really sharp fabric scissors and being careful not to cut the stitching around the edge. And after taking some time to dry overnight, here is our bright reddish pink diamond that I have painted on the back of the jacket. It's actually very symmetrical, so good for me for measuring correctly. And it's kind of like reflective and shiny, which I'm liking for this project because it's giving roadwork sign. So next I'm just going to measure out where I want the letters to be to figure out what size they need to be so they can all uniformly be the same size. And I'm not like super worried if they're exactly level and straight because it's art. It can be messy. It can be whatever you want it to be. So that's the update on the back of the jacket. I have not added any of the patches yet, but the patches are done. And I gotta tell you, they're looking gorgeous and the machine was so easy to use. So I'm obsessed. And I have to say the most time-consuming aspect of making these patches was just waiting for them to be done embroidering. I just whipped them up on my iPad and then transferred them over to my phone and boom, they were going. So let's lay these out on the jacket, figure out the spacing for the back, and then get back to embroidering. Only thing is, this is multiple layers of paint. I'm assuming you can embroider just right through that, but we're gonna find out together. If not, we'll be making a bunch of letter patches and sewing those down, which is also a cute and functional option. As I'm figuring out the placement for all of these patches, I'm realizing that I'm putting them all on top of a pocket, and if I want that pocket to be useful, I can't just sew right down on top of that. So I'm gonna have to hand sew them down, but that's okay. So for the design on the back of the jacket, I actually went through a couple of iterations for what I wanted it to be until I settled on the final product. But I knew I wanted to have my painted diamond on the back and have artwork ahead embroidered on top of it in some capacity. So my first initial idea was to embroider the letters individually directly onto the jacket itself. But when I did that, it just wasn't giving enough artistic vibe. It was too workwear for me. But I do think it's important for me to share that part of the process because it shows a cool function on the machine where you can actually scan your frame on the app and then determine the layout of where exactly you want the embroidery to be placed within the app, and then the machine just puts it right there, which was super easy for aligning letters for larger words that might not fit inside your 4x4 frame. So with all of that said, that was a great learning experience, but I did end up pivoting, so let's talk about that. I'm not loving how this is looking. I feel like it could be more, it could be fun. So I'm gonna undo all of these and I'm going to pivot to create more patches to put on here to still spell artwork ahead. I'm going to embroider each letter individually on a swatch of fabric, cut that out, and then sew that down, and it's gonna give like magazine clippings, and I can use different threads and all of that fun stuff. So I think that's gonna be more exciting because this is just very road work. This plan was not meant to be, and the new plan is going to be much better. And with the new plan in place, I am ready to lock in and get started on creating those magazine clipping style patches. So to bring more bits and pieces from previous projects into this jacket, I dove headfirst into the depths of my craft closet and picked out some fabrics from some of my favorite projects that if you have followed my channel, maybe you can take a guess at where all of these fabrics are from and what characters they represent, but that's just a little fun Easter egg for the community. Anyways, after I picked out the fabrics that I like to use, I went ahead and figured out how I'd like them laid out, and I assigned each fabric its designated letter in the layout and got to work on embroidering those. And it was pretty easy switching between letters and making sure that they were still roughly the same size. I just created one letter design on the Artspira app and saved it to my creations, and then went back in and just adjusted the font, and they were all relatively the same size when they came out. And here's how all the letter patches came out, and I laid them out, and I'm just actually so obsessed, and this was meant to be. This was the right plan. We just had to get here through trial and error. And with the placement figured out, I went ahead and brought out another Brother sewing machine, but it is not sponsored. I had this before because I just love Brother sewing machines. Anyways, I am just sewing down over the edges with a zigzag stitch in a color that is corresponding to the color of the thread that the letter was embroidered in to give it a little bit more of that extra color and flair. And with everything sewn down, I'm just going through with a pair of scissors and cutting off all those little tails of thread. And the back is done, and I'm actually so obsessed with how it came out. It looks so good. That wraps up our project. I'm absolutely so excited with how it came out. I'm really happy that I trusted the process and went with this design in the end. And I'm so proud that I made it. I see myself wearing this jacket for many a creative project in the future. And although the patches and embroidery process is done, the jacket itself is a work in progress because I gotta get paint and like glue and just messy craft stuff all over it to give it even more crafty character. Thank you so much to Brother for partnering with me on this video. I am obsessed with this Skitch machine, and now that I know how easy it is to just take an image on your phone, upload it, and boom, you're ready to embroider. I myself am going to be an embroidery machine because I have to customize every piece of clothing that I own now. I'm obligated. But that wraps up the video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment for more crafty content in the future. Thanks, bye!